I'm sorry. This isn't gonna work.
What about it's not gonna?
I don't know.
What the hell are you doing? What are you doing?
I brought my own mics.
You brought your own mics?
I brought my own mics.
Well, this is a first.
Hey, you want to do yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
I have one too.
Yeah.
You know I paid for these.
I don't care.
What the My name is Billy Boyd, and obviously I'm thrilled about it. I'm an aspiring comedian just trying to learn the rules of the road. And to do that, I'm hitting the road. Visiting the cities and towns that allow stand-up comedy to thrive. Meeting up with comedians. Checking out their sets. And talking about the traffic jams, roundabouts, and five-way intersections that we all face. And you? Well, you just called shotgun. This is a trip down the open mic turnpike. Today, the open mic turnpike brings us to Indianapolis, Indiana, also known as the Crossroads of America, also known as Circle City, also known as Naptown, also known as Indiana No Place, also known as Railroad City, also known as... Indianapolis is the kind of a place that has a lot more to see and do than it has nicknames. So that being said, we better get started. Indianapolis, Indiana is way too many syllables, which is why Hoosiers just call it Indy. Indy is an anomaly. It's a major city with some world-class stuff going on, but at the same time it has a small, friendly, Midwestern town kind of feel to it. For example, the greatest spectacle in racing happens right here, the Indy 500. 300,000 people from around the world show up, and 10 times that many watch it on TV worldwide. And the winner of it all gets milk. It's a kind of a small town where you can stroll through the park to the library. It just happens to be a huge park and a massive library. Look one direction and you'll see something old. Then look across the street and you'll see something new. It's a city where historic steeples tower next to skyscrapers. It's a town where you can wave hello to people you know while you take a walk along the canal, just a stone's throw away from where you shout at complete strangers in traffic. And while Indy is home to big professional sports teams like the Indiana Pacers, it's also home to small-town amateur sports teams like the Indianapolis Indians and the Baltimore Colts. And that's what you get for beating the Bears in 07. Cards on the table, I used to live in Indy, and I adore Indy. It's a city that honors their war heroes more than their sports heroes. In fact, the only city that has more veteran memorials than Indianapolis is Washington, D.C. itself. Indy is rich in museums, and good ones of all kinds. They have the world's largest children's museum. I mean, how cool is a building with dinosaurs bursting out of it? Indy is a planned city, which means it just kind of makes sense. Things just line up nice and straight. There's a roundabout right in the middle of town where you can look in any direction and just see something special. It's the kind of a city that had the foresight to put their hydrants close enough to water their sewers. I can't explain that either, so let's keep going. When you're in Indy, you just feel like you're in a capital city. You feel like you're in the center of it all. Indianapolis is located right in the middle of Indiana. And Indiana is located right in the middle of a region called the Midwest, which means it's almost impossible to take a noteworthy road trip without getting a taste of Indy. But today we're looking at a different kind of a journey, one that starts in Indianapolis. And where we're going, there's no GPS guidance, there's no street signs, there's no road maps. When you start down the journey of stand-up comedy, all you can really do is pick a direction, hit the gas, and see where you wind up. And at the wheel for today's trip is this guy.
Hi, I'm Matt Pelsor.
35-year-old Matt Pelsor is an Indiana native, and he has already established a name for himself in Indianapolis, but not in stand-up comedy, yet. Matt is a Hoosier radio veteran with an impressive resume, and apparently his own collection of microphones. He's been a program director, an audio producer, and on-air talent, and he also does voiceover work in his spare time, of which there is little. Which is why when I heard that he was considering doing stand-up for the first time, I just had to be there. You're a first-time comedian as of this evening.
As of this evening.
But you're not going up unarmed.
I've been on stage, I've done a lot of plays in my life, but I've also been a broadcaster that entire time. This is my 20th year in radio this year. Been doing radio since I was 15.
Wow.
Yeah. So I feel like that kind of prepares me for it. I could be completely wrong. I could just crash and burn.
I hope so. What is the largest crowd What is the largest crowd you've ever stood up in front of?
Oh, 25,000 people.
25,000?
Yeah, because at my old job, I worked at a rock station, and we put on concerts, and we would have to do stage announcements and stuff. I'll tell you a story about one that went really badly.
They go badly?
Oh, they've gone badly. We had Seether, Breaking Benjamin, and 3 Days Grace.
Wow.
And the place was packed. It was 8,500 people. I was going to be in the middle doing the Breaking Benjamin one. And Ben Burnley, the front man, is kind of a germaphobe.
Okay.
The roadie hands me the mic, wireless mic, says, go do your thing. The other two guys are behind me, clapping and hyping up the crowd without mics, and I'm talking into the mic, and I can't hear it going over the speakers. I'm like, this isn't working. What do I do? Let's improvise. I go to the lead singer mic. Again, he's a germaphobe. That's a big no-no. So I'm yelling into this, and the crowd, they're going crazy because they know they're about to see Breaking Benjamin, and the roadie runs up behind me and screams in my ear. I'm right next to the mic. There's no way the crowd didn't hear it. He says, use the mic in your hand, dumbass.
In front of 8,000 people.
In front of 8,500 people. And so I wrapped up. I said, here comes Breaking Benjamin. Everybody cheers. They probably didn't care, but it was extremely embarrassing.
Nothing that will happen tonight could possibly be that bad. So you're in the clear. You've done it already.
Here's open.
So as part of the Open Mic Turnpike, when we visit a new city, we ask you to take us to your favorite place in town. Where are we at here?
We are at Sun King Brewery in downtown Indianapolis, 135 North College.
That's an important address to remember if you ever find yourself in Indianapolis, because Sun King is a beer lover's paradise. Sun King is one of the largest breweries in Indiana, and at their main brewery here, you can watch Sun King brew and can their beers for shipment. They sell their beer all over the state, as well as some surrounding states. Sun King has a great vibe. The bartenders are friendly, all the tips go to charity, and the beer truly is king. It's fresh, it's delicious, and all thanks to a trick that Sun King has up its sleeve. Yeah.
They prop their own yeast. Actually, that's my wife's job, is to make the yeast here. She's a beer scientist.
Your wife works here?
She works here. She's a beer scientist, and she props the yeast. So they make their own yeast. Most other breweries, smaller breweries, have to buy yeast, but they make so much beer here that they make their own yeast.
On tap, there are a ton of beers. It's overwhelming. All styles, some crazy but wonderful flavors. And there's always a fresh list of seasonals, some of which you can only get here. Which meant that Matt's next question was music to my ears.
You want some?
I do. And that brings us to the question of the day, which I'm getting nervous about now.
What's that?
So I made it about microphones, and now you're making me nervous.
You are screwed.
So let's just get this out of the way. What is the standard microphone used for open mic comedians?
We just had it up here. It's the Shure SM58. This guy.
And what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. It's a great mic, but I like old mics.
I've got the Elvis mic, and you look like you're talking into one of those boxes at a drive-in movie theater.
Yeah, but it still sounds pretty good, huh?
So what are these?
So this is a Shure 556, the one that you're on. The bass is it's sort of stabilized. It's kind of like a rubberized bass. This is the actual broadcast version of this microphone. But it's got a little bit bigger pickup pattern. They used it for vocals. They used it for all kinds of different things. Both of these are probably from the 60s. That one was made, that particular design was made circa 1956 to 1979, and there's really no way to tell when that one was made. What?
I need a beer.
Okay, let's get a beer.
Wow, that is a full beer.
Yeah, Steve is generous with the pours.
What'd you pick out?
I picked out their seasonal IPA. This one is called Fistful of Hops. They used to make this year-round, but they'd switch the hops each season, you know?
Yeah.
But now they make 4 different seasonal IPAs with 4 different names, and now Fistful of Hops comes out in the springtime.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to taste like, I'm assuming, right?
It is very hoppy, but it is delightful.
Well, cheers to first times, my friend.
Good.
That is a awesomely full beer. Oh.
Isn't that good?
It's a fistful of hops, but it's not that nasty bitter.
Well, no, because it's fresh. And so a good fresh IPA with really well-balanced hops you got to try that. If you think you don't like IPAs, make sure you try a good one that's fresh.
Because that is balanced, and you usually don't get that with an IPA. You usually get just a hop overload.
It's just hoppy for the sake of it. And this is terrific.
That's delicious.
Yeah.
So let's talk about tonight.
Yeah.
The idea for the bit that you're doing tonight, is it something that you've had for a while, or is it something you did specifically for this?
I'd had it written because I've kept like a journal of like ideas for stand-up should I ever do it. Again, I've never done it.
So it's always been in the back of your mind.
It's always been in the back of my mind.
Okay.
I've been keeping an off and on like stand-up notes journal for years, literally. I said, okay, well, what's the best thing I got? And this was the best thing I got. So we'll roll with it. We'll see if it goes all right.
You look so confident in it.
I mean, you just never know, you know? I mean, you probably know. You just never know what your audience is going to react to.
Never.
Yeah, you can go in with something you think is great, and you get the wrong crowd or you get the wrong timing, and it just doesn't work.
That's where I feel like you'll have a tremendous advantage as a broadcaster, because if you're on live radio, you can't stop.
Yeah, you can't.
have to push through it and keep going.
You have
and
to just keep talking.
And I guess in that sense, you're always performing to a dead room.
Yeah.
Nobody ever laughs at your jokes in the radio.
Always perform, and that's why I don't tell very many jokes. Because then you feel like you gotta laugh at yourself.
So in the process of getting the material ready, who have you run it by, or have you run it by anybody?
I've run it by my wife a couple of times. I remember the first time I did it for her, like, after I'd had it down, you know, initially I was just yelling the entire time, just yelling and screaming, like just 100% full volume the whole time. And I was kind of talking in a weird way that's like not me, and she said, that's not you, don't do that. She said, no, this is good material, this is funny, be yourself. So I've refined that a little bit. Hopefully tonight I don't go into panic mode and turn back into the character, you know, a little Mr. Hyde situation. But you know, every time I've done it since then, I've been able to dial it back.
What if tonight doesn't go so good? How's that going to affect you?
It's fine, because I may never do this again.
That's invincibility.
I don't have, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Well, yeah.
I'm jealous of it.
In that, I'm not worried about it too much. And that'll help my nerves on stage, I think. Just knowing that if it goes really poorly, I may never do it again. And even if it goes really well, I may never do it again. I don't really have time to do this as a thing. I would love to if it goes well, but, you know, I'm
That's
not
the
real
next
worried.
question. What happens if it goes well? Now you are screwed.
I don't know. I'm a dad. My second kid is on the way, and so
Congratulations.
Thank you
That's
very
a big
much.
deal.
We just found out it's a boy too.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, another boy, 2 boys. And
Why are
so
you shouldn't be drinking then. That's not how that works.
that's not how that works.
So if you wouldn't mind taking a couple questions from viewers.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we have 3 questions, which means every single viewer had written their own question. Lizzie in Indianapolis wants to know, why are you doing this to yourself? Great question.
Why? Because I've always wanted to do it. I've always wanted to try it. You know, it's not something I've ever wanted like as a career or anything like that, or thought I could do. But it's just always been on my mind to try stand-up comedy. Just put together 5 minutes or whatever, it's 3 minutes as it were for tonight, and give it a shot.
You can't shake that bug. Once it's in there, that you have to try this. It's there.
Well, let's just hope it doesn't go well.
Here's hoping.
Here's it not going well.
Tonight's open mic was at Crackers Comedy Club, right in the heart of downtown Indy. Keeping true to Indy's small town feel, the club itself has been locally owned and operated for 38 years. But Crackers is certainly not a small town club. The room itself is huge, and it's strictly a stand-up venue, which gives open mic comedians a taste of what it's like to perform in the big leagues. Matt Pelsor, with his double bourbon on the rocks in hand, attended a short meeting to brief the open micers, and then stood up for his first taste of the open mic.
Let's hear it. Pelsor! How's everybody doing? Who likes animals? All right. Who likes animals? Yeah? All right, sure. I believe you.
I love animals. I like how some animals get their names. Like some animal names are really specific, like rhinoceros means nose horn. Squirrel means shade tail. Easy enough, that's out of the way. That's my name. There's one animal, though, that has a really, really unfortunate name. Let me set the scene. Madagascar. It's that big island off the east coast of Africa. You know what I'm talking about. Madagascar, this animal's called the fossa. Now, that's not the name I'm concerned with. The name I'm concerned with is its scientific name. Cryptoproctopherox. Any classics majors here? Anybody know a little ancient Greek? Anyone want to tell me what cryptoprocta means? Hidden anus. Hidden anus? Hidden anus. So my guess is that scientists showed up to Madagascar and everything's different there. You know, I mean, it's been isolated from the rest of the world for 90 million years. And so they look around, they're like, everything's different. What do we do? I don't know. Start tranquilizing all the animals. Ah, God, the dirt's wearing off on this one. What do we do? What do we call it? I don't know. It looks like a seal mixed with a cat. Let's call it a seal cat. It's 3:30 in the morning. All right, that sounds fine. How about we call it a seal cat? Wait, what? No anus. What? You're a kid. It's a mammal. It's right. Oh, look at that. There's no anus. Oh, wait, no, it's here, but it's hidden. We'll call it hidden anus. That's a really lewd detail, though, right? Don't you think? Should we really call it hidden anus? Look, no other animal hides their anus, all right? Sir, I've never seen your anus. But I didn't evolve to hide my anus. And that's when I start wondering, why did it evolve to hide its anus? There must have been some weird, unwanted, gross shit happening over the eons of ancient Madagascar to necessitate that level of anus height. Hidden anus, that means there were some horrible, creatures roaming the Madagascar countryside doing God knows what to Foss's anuses, and they all got together and they were just like, this guy's an asshole. No, we're the assholes. Ah, good one. No, we gotta do something about this. Well, it's not like we can just hide our assholes. No, we can't. But maybe we should try it. And so a learned characteristic turns into a physical trait. I feel like, though, we've done the fossa a great disservice by calling it hidden anus. See, humans have hair on the tops of our heads and on the tops of our genitals, but we don't call ourselves pilosis genitalia because we created the system. If we had hidden anuses, there's no way we would focus on that by itself. Hidden anus? I feel like if they found out we called him hidden anus, they'd march in the street with signs like, "We're so much more than a hidden anus!" That's my time, thank you.
What is going through your head? Are you hooked?
I don't remember what happened. I don't know what. Did it go all right?
You're kidding me.
I don't remember what happened.
It was fantastic.
It seemed all right.
They loved it.
It kind of flew by. So I had 5 minutes, and I get here, and they're like, "You got 3." I'm like, "But I need," and they're like, "Nope, you got 3."
It was a strict 3.
So I kind of had to just compress it all. Did any of it land? It seemed all right.
It seemed very intentional. So you planned for 5. You wrote 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You were kind of
Type
concerned
5.
maybe they're not going to give me a 5. You
So
get
I
here
had
and they
to-
give you a 3 and it's done
I had
after
to
3.
edit in my head. Yeah,
Okay.
You're done at 3. 3 minutes, they turn the mic off.
Just done. Done. at
Done.
3.
You're done. And I think it went okay.
I think it went great.
Yeah?
First time?
First time.
Yeah, hell
Well,
yeah.
So what does this mean?
Are you hooked?
Oh, God, I guess so.
Yeah, we did it. We did it. Once the bug to try stand-up comedy bites you, you are done for. So the question is, are you ready? Give us a shout. Just email me, billyboy@openmicturnpike.com. We're always up for a good road trip. Thanks to Matt Pelsor for being so willing to share the journey. Thanks to Indianapolis. May our roads cross again. Thanks to Sun King Brewery for doing beer the right way. Thanks to Crackers Comedy Club. Excellent experience. And most of all, thank you. Stand-up comedy is thriving because of your support. I'm Billy Boy from Chicago, Illinois, and this is the Open Mic Turnpike.